Awesome. All right, folks. So today we're going to do a big Q&A session on Nichestyle Scrum. And I'm going to record this one as well, just because I think people might find it very interesting to hear some of the answers for the Scrum session. But the first thing I want you to do, just to as a process for doing this, is based on the Scrum session this week, what was your big aha and takeaway from the entire process? For a lot of you, it was the first time you've seen in the Academy the Scrum process being done. So just in the chat, just to make sure you're all in the chat, because this will be a very interactive session, what was the big takeaway from you from this week's presentations? One step at a time, the cadence bit, same number of CFTs each week, put in diary. The aha, course correction and keep going. Plan for fewer CFTs, then happily exceed them. Biggest takeaway was to stop looking for the best board and just order one. Yes, you can only start from where you are and it flows through. Like it. That's some very, very good takeaways. Looking forward to being part of the group. Need help with the 8 elements of the sprint planner. Not trying to fit way too much in the schedule. For example, allocation first. Every time I do a due Scrum cycle, it takes more projects off the board and breaks my epics down into ever smaller tasks. Love the fact that there are 3 parts: cadence, effectiveness, and the final print. Just the start. No perfect way of doing it. Just put CFTs in there and stick to it. Love it. Love it. Okay, cool stuff. So for this session, I'm here to answer any of your questions. You may need some help with understanding some of the theories behind it, or you may need some help breaking down the sprint planner, or you may need some help in figuring out how you're going to make your CFTs work, or creating CFT tags, or any of those above. But the focus, of course, is on the Nichestyle Academy Scrum as part of this process. Now, the way that we're going to do this, just so I make sure I get you on the questions and I don't miss you out, please make sure you put a Q, capital Q, and a colon before your question, so I don't miss anybody. So I see Michael Barrett's already got one up here. Need help with the 8 elements of my sprint planner. Fantastical. So let's get you on here, Michael, and we'll help you out with that. Okay, you there, Michael?
I'm good. Ed, how you doing?
Very well, very well. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So your sprint planner, let's take it from the top. So what's your project? Well, what's your 90-day goal first?
I wrote it this way: 200 subscribers, my first $1.
Yep.
Complete and implement E5.
Yep.
And nail my niche.
Right. So all of those, they sort of are in an order of sense, aren't they? Like in terms of your, like if you were to refine what would be the proof that you've done that? What would be the of those things that you've said, the 200 subs, the first $1, E5, etc. What would be the thing that would make you most happy if you had to pick one of those?
Well, I want to narrow like the things I'm interested in. I think the thing that would make me happiest is to get physical validation. Excuse me, I gotta turn this off. to get logistical validation that my my theories can get traction.
Right. And how would you know that how would you get that validation that your theories have got traction?
Well, I think Facebook testing would be, a fairly simple and clear method, and determine against my guesstimates, like what the response is based on the ideas that I have.
Great. Okay, cool. Have you done a Colby, Michael?
Yes.
Cool. What's your Colby?
7274.
7274. Okay, cool. Excellent. So I still haven't heard your 90-day goal. So you wrote down 200 subs, first dollar, implement E5, and there was one other that I didn't catch.
Nail my niche.
Nail the niche. Okay, cool. So would you be starting from scratch?
Pretty much, but I have
You have a market?
Yes, I've looked at several. That's my problem. I can't choose one.
Okay, so you haven't chosen a market. So you're starting from scratch.
Yes, sir.
Right, because like if you think, but that's good. You've got to work. You're not going from a universe of choice, right? You've got you've got some markets that you want to test.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay, so we want to validate a market from a selection. Cool. So what was your best case scenario? When you wrote down your best case scenario, what was it?
I wrote this last night when we were doing it. I got to look at it again. I forget. Test the workshop concept that I can manifest.
Okay. And what was your project? What did you write in the project box?
Oh, man, I forget where that is. To be honest with you.
On the corner.
On the corner. Just a minute. Well, that was the project. No, excuse me. The best result was finding a vibrant market in natural health.
Okay. All right, cool. So that was a vibrant market. Okay, cool. And so your project was validate. Sorry, that was I put words in your mouth there, which I shouldn't have. It was create a workshop.
Test the workshop concept that I can manifest.
Yeah, test a workshop concept. Cool. All right, excellent. What was your worst case scenario?
No results.
No results. All right, cool. Okay, so you wanted to test it, and this is a 30-day. Have you ever done have you ever run a workshop before or done any online? And is it an online workshop or offline?
My experience is offline, and I've done workshops for 6 years.
Right. So, and that's what you want to do. You want to test a real world workshop as opposed to an online workshop.
Yeah, I want to move into online also, but I want to
one project at a time.
Project
at a time, right?
So let me answer you the best that I can.
What did you mean? Well, let me be specific. You said test workshop concept, right? Validate your workshop concept, right? Test your workshop concept.
Offline workshop.
Offline. Great. Cool. Glad I checked.
Me too.
All right, good. Okay, vibrant, no results. Okay, so what's your criteria for a successful offline workshop, which would validate your theories?
Well, a landing page that converts 3 to 4% cold market.
Landing page, and you've got 3 to 4% here from cold traffic.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that's
And
good.
I
This is
have
why
two more.
Yeah, no, oh, great. Okay, give me the two more.
Analyze CPC.
In what context? Analyze CPC, cost per click.
What it's costing me to get people to get there.
Okay, yep, got it.
All right, and then the third one is 100 subscribers.
100 subscribers.
And this is in the context of E5, right?
Yeah, that's a method right now. So let's just okay. So yeah, don't worry, I haven't forgotten E5. I'm so glad you've got that because it's awesome, right? But when you say 100 subscribers, is it 100 registrants to the workshop, or is it 100 people who sign up to your mailing list, of which you'll get a certain percentage to the workshop?
100 people that say this is interesting. So yes, let's say because
they're two different things, right? There's
yeah, right. Okay, so 100 subscribers to a mailing list to start with.
Okay, great. Okay, that's great. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so when we look at these, if we zoom in, and this is why we write it down. I'm so thankful for you, Michael, to get on here because this is the perfect type of thing where we can break things down. Okay, so we want to test that you can get people to an offline workshop. Okay, so now do you know the content of this workshop? Do you have a particular concept in mind?
Yes.
Good. Okay, cool.
And many of the things that I've done over the last 6 years are integrated into the concepts that I have in a book, 2 books that I've written.
Okay, cool.
But I haven't published them yet.
Right, okay. No worries. Cool. That's good that you've got them. Excellent. All right, cool. Good. Okay. So we've got our concept for the workshop. We need to get the particular, you want validation that the people would be interested to get these, the particular theories, okay,
yes.
of which in the basis of the couple of books you've written but not published.
Correct. And also the workshops I've taught for the last 6 years.
Yeah, and plus you've been doing workshops. But is this a new workshop or is it an existing workshop that you've already presented?
This is a new one that I have in my mind because I want to create my own material instead of doing other people's stuff.
Good. Got it. Okay. Excellent. Loving this. Okay, good. All right. So in your criteria here, there's first of all, let's in analyzing your actual criteria, the first thing, landing page, 3 to 4% cold traffic. Okay. I would be aiming for 1% cold traffic.
Okay.
Right? Just as a general rule, like if a client came to me, and for my sins, I'm considered a pretty darn good copywriter, and I would say to them straight off, a 1% goal on cold traffic is 3 to 4% is when you've got a good sort of referral from somebody. Okay, so that's just a little expectation change I would make. Okay, so that's the first comment. Now, as criteria, analyzing cost per click is good, but what cost per click would be successful?
Well, the nature of the workshops that I do range like on a 3-day event that is an evening and a full day and a half day.
Mm-hmm.
That would generate revenue of with 10 people in the group would generate revenue of $2,500.
Okay, so how much does each individual person?
$250.
$250. Excellent.
I have another workshop that I've done consistently that I charge $1,200 for, and it's but it's a 12-week process.
Yeah. No, well, this is a workshop, right? We're validating.
Yes.
And do you see what I'm doing, Michael? I'm always
Yes.
bringing you back to the project here, right?
Okay.
Because and you're like trust me, mate, you're like me, you're like every entrepreneur on here. And you are high fact finder, high quick start, which is which has a particular brand of this. On one hand, you want to get started on all of these cool things, but then you've got all this fact finder in you as well, right? So
I got 250 different categories in my Gmail.
Bingo, right? There you go.
Yeah.
That is a tip, right? And that's cool. You're an awesome entrepreneur. You've got everything you need. You've got all the tool sets for being an awesome entrepreneur. That's not a problem. But my job as your coach is to consistently bring you back to what's our North Star here. Test this workshop concept, right? So
Yes, sir.
Workshop concept. So the workshop is going to be a $250 workshop. And so would it make sense that that you would like to at least break even on your advertising or make a profit?
Absolutely. Well, the what I would like to on advertising is a self-liquidating promotion.
Yeah, right. So that's a really good, that would make me happy. Self-liquidating would make me happy. An amazing result would be like I'm making a serious profit on my cost per click, and a disappointing result where we'd need to change things would be we're making a loss on our advertising. Fortunately, and you see how this is starting to work?
Yes.
Because we've defined this as a 1% conversion rate, right?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean if we're charging $250?
Well, I need
What if you've got a 1% conversion rate?
for every 100 people. I'm going to need 1,000 people.
No. Let's just work it for cost per click. Yeah, I know where you're going. That's great. Yeah, because you've got 100 subscribers here, right? So here's the thing. Landing page on cold traffic. Now, this is my fault, actually. Let's clarify what you mean by landing page. I was sort of taking it as sales page.
Well, okay, yeah, it is, but it's like the MPC thing
Or are we talking an opt-in page?
Yes, sir.
Well, if we're talking an opt-in page, then I've given you completely the wrong data.
Okay, well, I get tangled in the language, but I know what I want to do.
No, okay, you get tangled in the language. So let's draw this out for a second, right? And I want you to be doing this, Michael, while I'm doing it. Okay, so let's have a look at the path that somebody is going to take to get to your workshop.
Okay, well,
no. Hang on, just hold on a sec.
Gotcha.
Let's. They start from traffic. Okay, so we're going to get traffic from somewhere. Don't know where that is yet, but we're going to get some traffic. You envisage them coming to a landing page, an opt-in page. The job of that page is to collect emails, not make sales. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Opt-in page. All right. So in that opt-in page, we're going to get people to join a mailing list.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then we're going to mail those people. By the way, do you have an existing mailing list, Michael?
I have several, but they're so old, I'm going to start fresh.
Okay, so effectively starting from scratch. Cool. Okay, so we're doing a mailing list, and as part of that, we're going to create an offer to attend a workshop. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right, have you ever done this process? So this process that we've just put here, have you ever done it before yourself?
No,
personally?
I've gone through the motion a dozen times, but not specifically.
Have you actually been in the field? That's the key distinction. Not in your head are unpublished, but actually through the fire of driving traffic to a funnel and all that thing?
I created one of the original things that Leslie Rohde's deal.
Oh, you beauty. Yep.
Yeah, with I forget, the Revenge of the Internet, way back when.
Okay, so that's old.
I know,
right?
but
okay, cool. That's okay. Good, Michael. And please understand, this is not an attack. I just want to be able to give you the best possible advice. Okay,
yeah.
so I just want to get real. If we get real with each other about exactly where we're at, because the first thing, now that we've driven this, and hopefully you can, and everybody watching and listening can really understand what we're trying to do here. And I'm so grateful that Michael was our first cab off the rank, right? Because to me, testing the workshop concept. Oh, sorry. One last question before I get into that.
Okay.
Bad consulting, Edward. Bad consulting. Something I didn't ask you was, how many CFTs do you have to work on this?
Well, wait a minute.
So CFTs, critical focus time, 50 minutes.
I did my my CFT scheduler last night.
I heard it sounds as though you almost had it laminated. Did you have it laminated as well?
Oh, absolutely.
I could hear it. See, there you go. 2 points. Good on you.
I got to do my Scrum board, a big one, tomorrow, because I haven't had a day off of work in a while. But my CFT scheduler, the way I laid it out last night.
Yep. How many have you got during a week?
I've got 5.
5. Fantastic. That is
early morning.
Yep. Cool stuff. Brilliant.
I made a commitment on one of your presentations on Facebook about a month ago that I would dedicate at least 1 hour each morning accordingly.
Nice. Okay, great. Okay, so this solidifies everything. So the context of what I've got to give you advice on is in the context of what time you've got, right, to do this, and where you're at, whether this is a new process or a process that you've done many times before. So when I go back to the project and I look at the number of CFTs, what I think we need to do first, actually, I think what would be an amazing first month for you is just to solve the traffic opt-in page mailing list part of the puzzle.
Okay. I'm game. I'm there.
Right. So otherwise it's too overwhelming, because then you've got a workshop to organize, you've got a workshop to, promote, and all of those sorts of things where you're just learning to get up to speed with the traffic, the opt-in page, and the mailing list.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the one thing that we need to figure out if we zoom in now, the very first thing we need to do is figure out where we're going to get this traffic from.
My initial concept has been the idea of doing Facebook tests. Yeah, Facebook tests. And what we've figured out, before I just slightly got out of when we got a little distracted with the sale. Now, a landing page, let's go back. Now that we've refined our workshop, our actual project goal for the month is to create a successful opt-in process. Okay.
Now we've got different criteria.
Got it.
So our landing page criteria is we want to get our landing page above 30% opt-in rate.
All right.
Right. So that's way different.
I get it.
Okay. So, but still our actual cost of acquisition doesn't change, because for every 100 people that see the offer in a, very average campaign, 1% of people will buy that offer. Right. So, you've got 250 people here. Right. So that makes sense. So you can afford $2.50 a click.
All right. So, I got you.
Right?
I got it.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So when we analyze our cost per click, we ideally like it to be less than $2.50 for the workshop. And then 100 subscribers on the mailing list, spot on. Okay, because that's perfect criteria.
Yeah,
Right? It seems realistic and all those sorts of things. Now, I've got another question I've got to ask is, are you going to obviously the workshop that you're doing is an offline workshop, which means that it's region-based.
correct.
Okay. So that will, with your mailing list that you're building, the mailing list asset of people who are interested in this concept, are you going to regionally focus the mailing list first?
I need to, yes.
Yep. Yes. Okay, good. That's a very important criteria.
I have a really good network in the field, so
awesome.
I can replicate that in different markets.
Excellent. Oh, that's fantastic. So from day one, we've got region focus because that helps us with our advertising. Okay. Right. So how are you feeling now? Just in terms of, like, if you started in terms of like a confusion level 1 to 10, if you start at 1 being incredibly confused, 10 between absolute clarity, where did you start before we had this conversation? Where did you start?
2 to 3.
2 to 3. And where are you at the moment? We haven't finished yet, but where are you at the moment?
7 to 8.
Very good. Okay. So the piece de resistance here is, because we've clarified what you're actually doing, then we can say, okay, well, is there a roadmap that exists for you to get this traffic opt-in page mailing list test happen? And good news, there is, right? There's actually a bunch of them, but the one that I recommend using is the one that I've done in the fundamentals workshop, which, by the way, dovetails in E5 is going to come, but it's going to come a little bit later.
Okay.
We're going to use 2 concepts early on from E5. The unique mechanism.
Yes.
Have you done that for this?
No, I've got part of it done, but I'll tell you, that's been a really challenging course for me.
Yep. It's incredibly, it's the most awesome course really of the decade in my view, but it's also the most it has the potential to be the most overwhelming.
That's exactly the word I had in my mind.
Yeah. Okay. So, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to make it not overwhelming. And the way we make it not overwhelming is I tell you, ignore all of it except this one video.
Okay.
That's all you need right now, right? The only part of this is the only part that you need to really understand right now is the unique mechanism.
Yes.
That's the only thing. And
okay.
I've actually got a video on unique mechanism, which I did for the Academy, which you can have a look at and get the breakdown of that. But ultimately, we want traffic opt-in page mailing list. So in the absence of any particular roadmap, one that we know works is the lead gen process, and it's incredibly fast, that I've done in the fundamentals workshop. Okay, so we need to create some sort of reason, and we call it a SAGE document, which is the concept created by Nicholas Kuzmich, who's a Facebook advertising expert. And that SAGE document, and I use the document term loosely, it could be video, it could be an audio, it could be a PDF, could be any number of things.
Okay.
But basically, it's a document of value that people can get. Very simple document. That's what the S stands for, simple, right? Simple document that really gives value to the target market that you want to target for this thing.
Okay, it's kind of like a subsidiary or a subset of the Jeff Walker thing, right?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, when he's doing, and see, this is the thing, mate. You have collated. You have got so much stuff in your toolbox. You don't know which weapon to use.
That's
right?
it. It's right. Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, you've got so much stuff in it, and that's what we've got to. We've got to clear all that away just to give you the specifics you need to give you that momentum. All right. So
Yes,
my recommendation, and this then answers the final part of your question. What do I put in these 8 boxes? Is go, you got the fundamentals workshop link.
no, I don't.
Right.
Was that from
so that was it. When the first email you got from me is the link to get a login for the fundamentals workshop. You also got an email to the introductions, but there's also a thing. And if you haven't got it, Vox me later and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
All right. In there is a step-by-step course, by the way, with broken down Post-it notes for you. So you don't even have to think about it. You just copy the Post-it notes and put them on your Scrum board.
Cool.
Broken down into well-written CFTs of how to create a Sage document.
Okay.
And the reason I'm sending you there is because you know this market already. You know their pains, gains, and jobs to be done. You know you've already got 2 books worth of content, which you could potentially use some of that to create this document. So I'm not right. You've got all the base tools there. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Very, very good. All right. So there you have it. Does that so what's your action steps?
The first thing I'm going to do is watch a video.
Right? No, because that's your crack cocaine.
No,
right?
no.
Right.
I get it, but I want to see what the fundamentals are, and then I'll jump on them.
So what you're going to do is you're going to go sign up. You're going to send me a Voxer for the link if you can't find it. Right. So you're going to sign up. First action point. Do this as a ticket and give yourself a ticket. Give yourself a reward. It'll take you 10 minutes. It's a cheat ticket. It's awesome. Right.
Okay.
Get login details and log in. Go to the week on Sage.
Okay.
And follow the steps, which will involve some video watching. But here's the thing I want you to do, Michael. It's very important for your profile, right?
Okay.
You don't watch all of the week through.
I won't.
Right? It's not designed for that. It's you watch it and then implement it. Watch it, implement, and then copy the tickets out. Okay, so copy the tickets out because it'll tell you what to watch and what to do in each session.
Okay, got it.
All right.
Yeah, man, I really get what you're saying because
good.
You know what kicked me the biggest aha I had in the last month was when you said entrepreneurs always try and figure out how to get from Los Angeles to New York and all the details. And you said, forget it. Just figure out how to get from LA to Las Vegas.
Yeah. Day one.
That's my problem.
Because it's too over. Yeah. And with a 7274, you bet it is, right? It is so, and that's cool though. But here's the thing is you've got so many positives, right? There's so many strengths that you have, and we just need to channel those strengths into focusing on the first day's journey as opposed to, the whole trip between Los Angeles.
778 days in a row, right?
Yeah. Very good. All right, mate. Fabulous.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
No worries. Okay, that was a cool one to start off with, and I hope you picked, and Michael was being so generous there in seeing the first project that we started off with was not actually the project that he needed to do, but by breaking things down, working it through, stepping it through. If you're seeing this on the video, it's me literally drawing a bunch of diagrams. And you might even notice that I kept thinking of questions and clarifying questions that I needed to ask, because if I made a whole bunch of assumptions, I would have given him a whole bunch of wrong advice, which would have not been good, right? So it's a breaking that down. Thinking, instead of thinking in your head, it's thinking with somebody else is incredibly powerful, hence the academy and your squad mates, and thinking on paper is incredibly powerful as well. All right, let's see who our next victim is. Here we are. Wendy, I believe, is the next cab off the rank. And I think I've got James as well. And they're the people I've got in the queue. Oh, no, and Debbie is there as well. Yes, Andrew, the induction workshop is, sorry, I cross-call it fundamentals and induction. That's correct. Okay, who did I say? Wendy. Oh, I'm loving this allow to talk feature. Makes me so excited. All right, Wendy.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. So you, as I scrolled past your question here, how to figure out my criteria. Okay, cool. So let's take it from the top. What is your 90-day goal for this Scrum cycle? Oops, Wendy. Oops. What's happened to Wendy? Annie, are you muted? I think you might have muted yourself. There we are. You're back.
Okay.
All right. Wendy, your 90-day
is to make my first $1.
Great. Make your first $1. Cool Magoo. Okay, so for your first chunking that down, then what was your project for this month?
Select a market to test.
Nice. You're going to make this easy for me, aren't you? This is great. Okay, so select a market to test. All right, so you're effectively starting from scratch?
Yes.
Cool. All right, cool. So what was the best possible outcome for you?
Clarity on my direction and highly responsive market.
Great. Clarity and highly responsive. Love it. And what was the worst case scenario?
Did not find a market.
Did not find a market. Cool. Okay, now, so the criteria was where you ran into some challenges.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the first part of the criteria is what methodology are we going to use to find a market? Or in the easy structure, using the easy filters, what roadmap are we going to use? Does that make sense?
So, yes. So I started yesterday and today doing the research I was doing week 3 and 4. And the last week I've done week 3 and 4.
Okay, so you've got a roadmap.
Yes.
That's excellent, and one I fully endorse because I created it, so it's got to be good. Right?
That's awesome.
So yeah, right. So you've got that, right? So you've got even your ticket. Okay, so cool. So the outcome of that was now, and this piece of language may be a bit foreign to you at the moment, but the criteria, if you follow along that process, you'll eventually learn the Winterhaven method, which was created by Dean Jackson.
Okay.
And the way that we determine whether a market is going to be highly responsive or responsive, not highly responsive, responsive, right, is that they talk back to you.
Yes.
Okay. So as you collect emails, we send them a question. And we would hope that approximately 8% or 1 to 2 in 10 emails responds to you.
Okay.
And we know, based on a whole lot of experience and a whole bunch of science and a whole lot of years of testing, that if we get that sort of response, that is a responsive market. That's a market worth going to a minimum viable product stage with. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
So in that case, if you're following along that methodology, that's the success criteria. You know, an 8% response rate on Winterhaven emails.
Okay. So should I just continue on and follow each week until I
Absolutely.
get to the winter haven?
Correct.
Okay.
You've got your tickets. You know,
Just like
each week's got your tickets.
Yeah. Because
And-
like right now I'm on the funnel one. So do I go like I'm like today I was doing the edit, like you go in and you sign up and then you're supposed to edit, but I don't know what to put in to edit it because I don't really know what I'm doing.
Well, then you've jumped ahead
Okay.
because
I mean,
which
like I know,
which single target market did you choose?
family reunions.
Family reunions. Cool. Okay, so who are you targeting with family reunions? It's like creating family reunions. Is that what like how to organize a family reunion?
Oh, yeah, family reunion ideas, how to,
Nice.
where to hold them,
Love it.
just all that type of stuff.
Love, love, love. Okay. Oops, not a raise. Love. Family reunion ideas. Cool. Okay. So, what were the pains, gains, jobs to be done for family reunions?
So, interestingly enough, a lot of the pains, I'm not sure quite how to deal with them, but a lot of them is that they don't there and it's bad. But other than that is like, where do you find t-shirts, ideas for the like what's a good theme for a reunion? Where should we hold our reunion? Invitation.
So
That type of
which one of those did you choose to help people with?
I would probably just the ideas. So it's a family reunion ideas. Like they want ideas of what you can do.
Awesome. Family reunion ideas. Okay, now just a little bit of methodology, and this is sort of more a thing. So the next step I have once you've got family. So your giveaway is going to be on family reunion ideas.
Yes.
Right. So your funnel is going to be our family reunion ideas. But the reason why did I put the funnel before working on the Sage doc?
I do not know.
You do not know the answer to that. That's fine. I know the answer to that. The reason I did was because this takes time. Right? So this takes some time to set up. Right? So okay. It's important for you to work through setting up the funnel. You don't have to fill it in. You don't have to fill in the opt-in page or any of that stuff. You just have to set it up.
Okay.
All right?
So just go through their videos and do what they say. But if they say like edit it, I can just keep going.
Yeah. Now, whose videos are you going through there?
Well, I'm doing the ones on your website.
You should only be doing videos that feature my face.
No.
What?
It doesn't have it just has a voice. It just has a voice from
Is it Adam Teese's voice?
Yes.
Okay, that's all right. The fuel. Lucky. Yeah. Don't go and do the whole ClickFunnels, like the whole ClickFunnels course and all those sort of stuff. That's a distraction right now.
Okay.
All right. That's a distraction. You need to be super focused. You just need to follow what Adam tells you to do, because Adam did shoot those videos, right? Just follow the steps, right? Follow the steps. And then here's the thing. When you get stuck on a step, what is your plan of attack?
Stop.
Very good. Yeah, don't like if you were taking more than one CFT stuck on a particular tech thing, then you stop. So first thing is stop. Good. Second thing, what do you do?
I Boxer you or ask everybody on Facebook.
Ask the Facebook group, because if you're working on the weekend and you Boxer me, I won't respond. And there are actually much better people from a technical perspective in the group than I am. So and thirdly, Voxer me. right? So
Okay.
you've got a plan of attack for dealing with any technical issues.
Yes.
All right. And one of those pieces of feedback may be, hey, this is a true technical issue. You need to get in touch with the support people of whatever thing you're working on at the moment. Like it might be ClickFunnels or something like that. And that's something that people tend to be really hesitant to do, which is insane. You know, ClickFunnels has 80 full-time people on customer support, right? And I think it's 24/7. So it's, you know, that is I don't even think of it if I'm, because I rarely do technical stuff myself these days, but as soon as I run into a problem, I don't even think about it. I just write, here's what I'm trying to do. I don't know where to do it. And I send it off because here's the thing, they will know how to find that in whatever documentation they've got far quicker than me wasting 20 minutes. And I'd rather move on to something else that I can work on, right? I move on to something else that I can do. And then they'll come back to me in an hour or two. And then I go, oh, cool. I'll continue on because they've shown me exactly the instruction sheet that I need to follow to do what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Right. So now you've got a plan of attack for where things stall. And yeah, have at any stage, I actually told you to fill in the opt-in forms yet from me. Adam's showing you how to do it and editing it. You can move on. As soon as you got it set up, that's all you had to do, right? Is have it set up. Then you go back and edit it once you've done the Sage document. It's much easier that way.
Okay.
Good stuff, Wendy.
Yep, that's perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. Good stuff. That was a good one. Dana's saying this is awesome stuff, Ed. So that's great. I'm glad it's helping people. That's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm paid to do, really. So, you know, it's sort of like, you know, it's part of the service sort of thing. All right, cool. Now, I think we had two more. We had James and Debbie. Okay, so let's go with James. Hello, Jimmy.
There we go. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can sure hear you.
All right. Yeah, it asked me to unmute myself, so I'd click that button. Cool.
Ah, very good.
All right.
All right. So you could you assist me with my game plan for my webinar strategy? So what's your 90-day goal?
Run a webinar that converts above 10%.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Okay, and what's your project? What's your project for this month?
It's actually to run 2 webinars a week, I'm guessing. I have 3 more CFTs before I finish the slides up.
Yeah.
And then that's when I want to start running it. So on yesterday's call, the other night's call, I said I want to do 8 to 10 for the 90 days, but I didn't know I could, I never thought about doing 2 a week or doing more than a week. I thought I was just going to do like schedule 1 a week per the next 90 days. That's why I only said 8 to 10. But you said I could step it up, so I want to step it up.
Oh, well, when I said step it up, I mean step up what I was referring to there was more that, first of all, you get your sea legs running the webinar. Okay. And that, to me, doesn't take more than 30 days, gotcha. Right? If you're doing, run 2 webinars a week, whether people are there or not, but consistent. Like I don't know if you've seen any of the streaming stuff that Adam and I have been doing, but one of the things we discussed there is consistency is absolutely the key, okay. Right? As you would be teaching your YouTubers, right?
Yep,
that
absolutely.
Consistency of publication is like the number one key to that whole world. So you need to apply a bit of that. So, okay, so run 2 a week. And so we're focusing now on the 30 days. So yes. Run 2 webinars. So what's the best case scenario? What's the best possible result?
I'll be able to run these on a webcam, because my thing is right now I'm going to do them all reading the slides through like the mic.
Yeah.
I want to get able to be really well on it that I'm actually in front of the camera doing it without having to look down at paper.
Nice. Very good. Okay. Excellent. That's good. What's the worst case scenario?
That I'll still need to be doing it on the webcam without the webcam.
Yeah. Still need to read. Okay, cool. So what's your success criteria?
To get for this, I wanted to try to see if I can get 100 registered. I guess I don't know if that's where I need to be, but I put 100
Well, this
registered.
is what I'm asking you, right? Because in the first
Okay.
30 days, your 90-day goal is to convert, have a webinar that converts at 10%.
Okay, got it.
Which is a very good number, right? That's a good standard industry number for a webinar. That's a nice result, 10% conversion.
Okay.
So that's a good number. I love that number. We had to adjust Michael's earlier, but that to me, that's a good number. Like
All right.
it. All right.
So the criteria I kind of put different because I thought the criteria was like to get 100 to register, get 50 of them to show up, 25 to stay, then 10% buy. But I guess that's not my criteria.
Well, I'm asking, this is your show,
Okay.
not my show. Well, this is my show, but this is your show, right? And 30, like the most important thing, like if you look at the next 30 days, the
Okay.
most important thing is not the sale, right? Because that's your 90-day goal, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Is to run these consistently, right? Because you've been in a prep for a long time. It's time
Yes.
to hit the road,
Yep.
right? So the success criteria is what?
Running them. So that's my other tickets for the rest of the week is set up the webinar jam with the slides and
Yep.
do them a couple times so I know the timing. So like the part when I say buy the button now, I can say that was an hour in or hour 20 minutes in or whatever.
Yeah. So, so if you're looking at your tickets, you've already, as you said, and this is great for people because if you hadn't picked up because of the casual way I'm talking to Jim, is that Jim is obviously a veteran and a good mate. So that's why I give him a much harder time. But with that love is tough love because we need to get this out the door. But you can hear how he's talking. He's talking in CFTs already, which is great, right? So you've got 3 CFTs to finish off the slides, right?
Yep. And then I have 2 for doing the webinar jam templates, like setting it up.
Yep.
And then 2 more for doing the registration links and images.
Yep.
And the last one is just to do the dry runs to get the timing down so I know exactly what my time frame is.
Cool. Okay, great. How many CFTs a week what's your run rate of your CFTs a week at the moment?
I have 6.
6. Okay, so this is so now looking at so how many tickets have you got on the inverted commas on the board on your runway?
For this week, I got 3 left.
Right, you got 3, but you just ran through this whole process. 3 CFTs for slides,
Yep.
2 for, how many of those have you got?
I have 15.
15, right? So that tells me, right, the only thing you need to worry about for the next 2 weeks, basically, is just getting this stuff executed. You don't need any more on your plate. We don't need to talk about anything else other than, of course, if you run into a challenge executing on one of these, then of course, that's what you need to, you need to reach out to people to say, hey, I'm stuck here. How do I get unstuck? Reach out to the squad and say, hey, I'm stuck with this. Has anybody done this? Has anybody had a challenge with this? Can you help?
Okay. So then, all right, then I got this. So that's the strategy I'm going to do is just knock these 15 these 15 tickets out.
Because 2 weeks actually gets you to the end of Feb, right? And then that means, it's sort of you bleed over into March. So March, you're getting all of March, you're consistent, right? And that's your efficiency run is running the webinars. And then what we'll be doing, of course, is in the spare CFTs, you've got 2 CFTs, you'll be just running webinars, right? Yep. So in the spare CFTs, we'll be working on the sales process and driving the traffic. And then in the sprint in April, we'll be going for that. Let's drive people into this and let's hit you 10%.
Yep. That's awesome. So sales process, I'm not even going to worry about that till after this. Like you said, don't even get to that.
Yeah, that's right. And honestly, that's, to me, that I can completely understand why it's very intimidating for a lot of people, but because there's so many good methodologies for the sales part of webinars, I'm not too worried about it, right? Because we'll find one that works for you.
Gotcha. All right, so I'll do these 15, then I'll keep you posted and keep the rest of everybody else posted because I should be starting to convert them. Awesome.
Yeah, totally. And feel free, to pop into because a lot of squad members are interested about YouTube. When you're ready to run a couple, throw a link into the squad for people to come along.
Okay, very well. I'll
Don't
do
invite
that.
me because I'll heckle mercilessly.
It's all right. It makes me stronger. It makes me better.
Yeah, that's right. And that's all I'm doing it for you. I'm making it better for you. All right,
Good
mate.
stuff, man. Thanks, man.
Very good. Thank you. And you can see there, Fuchs, that, that's the beauty of this process, because like he was worried initially about the 10%, right? Making the sales for the 10%. Whereas the reality is for the rest of this month, he's got to get everything ready, right? He's in the month one of any project, and he's obviously quite a way along because he's worked on the content, the market, et cetera, tested the market, done all of those things. But for right now, he's going to use the rest of his CFTs for the month just getting construction done, right? Just getting everything ready so he can hit the month of March and make sure for each week in March, he's running 2 webinars a week to get the practice, to get his sea legs running webinars. Beautiful. And then in the spare CFTs, because he's got 6 CFTs a week that he's pretty consistently able to do, we know that we've got 4 CFTs to work on offers, right? And to work on that. So when April comes, we've got a traffic strategy to drive traffic to the webinar, and he's real, he's live, and then we'll be able to use all of April to hit that 10% mark. So that is a classic. And what would happen traditionally, what would happen normally is people would be thinking about, the sales stuff, or how do I drive traffic and all that sort of stuff, and getting completely overwhelmed. Whereas there's fundamental construction process that needs to be done here first. And that is absolutely a key to this. Okay. Next one is, let's have a look. We've got Debbie. Should we, as a rule, work on all 3 projects in parallel or finish one before starting the next? That is a great question, Debbie. I don't need to bring you on for that because this will apply for everybody. There's a very simple criteria to analyze this. Is, have you successfully completed one project first, your 30-day project first? So from an academy perspective, have you successfully completed your first project first? And if the answer to that is yes, then I would recommend not going to 3, but try 2, right? If the answer is no, I haven't, then you stick to 1. Ship your first sprint planner, your first project, your first 30-day project towards your 90-day goal first. Get it out of the way. Hey, it may take you 7 days. Beautiful. Do another sprint planner. There's no rules that says you can't create another sprint planner and add more tickets to the hopper. But no, because what tends to happen is people tend to plan out all 3 programs, and particularly high fact finders, Debbie, tend to plan out everything, and and they confuse planning with actual work, and then nothing gets done, right? So that's the simple criteria. So the answer to me is, for 3 projects, have you ever successfully completed 2 projects in a month? And have you got that under your belt consistently? And if the answer to that is yes, I've consistently delivered on my 2 projects in a month, then great, expand it to 3. Stretch yourself. That's cool. But don't, and particularly for anybody in the academy or anybody who's attempting something for the first time, you've got enough stuff to deal with. So just focus on 1 project. Just focus on the one. All right. So that's the key. Okay. Gail's asking, who is that? I'm not sure who she's referring to. Gail had a follow-up question here. Who can help with tech help? Missed what you said. So whenever you run into a tech issue, you need to have a strategy, because after market selection, and I've got data points of over 480,000 people over 14 years now. The number one thing that stops people from ever having a successful project is they can't choose which project to do. That's the first problem, right? They've got too many options and they can't narrow down. They're afraid to narrow that down. That's the first number one problem. The number 2 problem, without a shadow of a doubt, particularly for online projects, is tech issues, right? People get so intimidated by the tech issues and they spend days trying to figure them out for themselves, and they don't have an effective methodology for treating the tech issues. Okay, so we need to change. We need to have a methodology, right? We need to have a plan of attack anytime we hit a tech issue. And the first part of the first rule of any tech issue is if you are spending more than one CFT on that tech issue, like if you started working on something and you haven't solved it, you've got to stop, right? For me, I don't even get it, the moment, I don't even do that anymore. The moment I have even, oh, how do I do that? If I have that thought, I'm stopping right away, right? But for you, 50 minutes. So, you know, because I see challenges and people in the squad all the time, and I used to do this too before I learned better. You'll spend hours in front of a computer watching YouTube videos and trying to chase down tech issues. It's a bad strategy. It uses up all your willpower that you could have been using to do creative things on your actual project. It stuffs you right up, right? So we've got to stop it. So the first thing is, as I think it was Wendy, absolutely correctly said, the first thing you do is stop. If you're falling towards a volcano, the biggest single trick that you can do is to fall down. It's so counterintuitive. Everybody tries to, if you're falling down any sort of hill, most people, they try to stand up, and it's completely the wrong advice. If you're falling down a hill, you've got to fall down. You've got to spread yourself out and give yourself as much friction, as much surface to area ratio, and that will slow you down. If you keep trying to get up, you'll reduce the friction and you'll increase your momentum. There you go, little tip if you're ever falling down a hill. Just remember that, right? But it's the same with a tech problem. The tech problem is, because if you keep trying to fix it, you'll just make it worse. So stop. That's the first step of the process. The second step of the process as an Academy member is you go to the squad and you type in the Facebook group and say, hey gang, here's the situation. Here's what I'm trying to do. And here's what you don't do, right? And this is asking for help full stop at any time. We're not interested in sob stories. We're not interested in the thing. We want the facts, right? We just want the facts. What are you trying to do? With facts, not emotion. Oh, I've tried everything. No, we don't have time, right? Just what's the problem? And has anybody had this problem before? And do you have a suggestion for getting help? Okay, that's the first thing. And simultaneously while you're doing that, you're also sending the question, how do I do this, or whatever the thing is, directly to your customer service people of whichever service you're having the technical issue with. Okay, that's the thing. Most people don't do that because they're used to 90s and last century style customer service where you typed in something and it went into the ether and you never got a response. That's not how things work this day and age, right? They don't work like that, right? For the type of services that we use and recommend, they've got, like I mentioned, ClickFunnels has 80 at least full-time customer support people. And most of the time they're available on chat. So they can be there chatting to you straight away, right? So you reach out those. I can't help you with technical stuff per se, right? Because I get people to do it for me these days. Like I can learn anything if I wanted to, but ultimately we want you to be in a process of not how, but who, finding people who'll do this for you. And often my advice will be pay somebody to do it on Fiverr. It'll cost you $10 and it'll get done perfectly, and they'll think that that's the easiest money they've ever made, and you'll be thrilled as well. So that's the tech, if you like. You need to have a strategy for different issues that come up. So we've got a strategy for I can't choose a market. We've got a strategy for that. Now with tech issues, you've got a strategy for that. Stop, email or message customer support on whatever that thing is. Mention if those two don't. And by the way, you've got to give it time. That's the other thing too, right? You're not going to solve. So this is the fifth part of the question. Okay, so let's go through it again. First, stop. Second, message whatever customer support it is. Understand that it may be 24 hours before you get a response back. But these days, you always get a response back. They're very good, right? 3, mention it in the Facebook group using non-emotional language and just say, here's what I'm trying to do. Has anybody had experience? I get stuck here. Okay. That's one thing to do. So get help from squad members, because often there are squad members who have been there, done it before. The fourth thing is to move on with something else. Pick another CFT from another area and move on. Don't sit there waiting for an answer from tech support or waiting, because nothing will make you more angry or more sapping of energy. Okay, so that is the key to that. Okay, good. So we've answered that for Gail. Chris asks, glad you mentioned not to do the full ClickFunnels course head. Can you clarify how much of the foundation course we will want to do? Chris, I can't clarify it because I work with people on an individual basis. So what I would heartily recommend you do is come to an engage session next week so we can clarify what's your 90-day goal, what's your 30-day goal, what's your success criteria, and I can help you I can point you in the right direction of the correct roadmap for you. Okay, cool. Oh, Andrew snuck in here. Let's have a look here. Okay, and I have to draw a line in the sand because I know people's effectiveness at listening goes down sharply after an hour. So what have we got here? My 90-day goal is to bring 15 people into a Fill Your Chairs Now course. Have a list of 1,880 people that I have to reintroduce myself. Been working on a new website. Should I make that the first project? Almost inevitably, no. Let me bring you on, Andrew, and let's work through this. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Ed, how are you?
Very good. Okay, so thank you for that. So let's have a look. Your 90-day goal is have 15 people into a now is this a online or real world
It's
workshop?
going to be an online workshop.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So 15 people. Cool bananas. All right. You also mentioned in terms of assets, you've got a list that hasn't heard from you in a while.
That's correct.
Okay, cool.
I used to hear from me regularly.
Yep, beautiful. Okay. So is there a strategy for reactivating your list? You bet your tushy there is. Okay.
Great.
Right. So that's great. Okay. So for this to prove true, right, for this 90-day project to prove successful, what of the things would have to prove true? What would you have to be able to do? Let's work backwards. So we have 15 people paying.
They're going to pay $295.
$295. Okay, great. Okay, so we've had for 15 people to pay $295 and attend the course. All right. Where would have they had to come from?
I think they would have to come from my list, I believe.
No. A step before that.
Okay.
How do they literally decide what's the decision? What's the thing that makes them go, oh, yeah, I want to go to that?
Okay. When you say come from.
Yeah, literally. Some sort of sales device.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's all right. That's totally fine. Right. So a sales device of some kind, right?
Absolutely.
And that could be a long form sales letter. It could be a video, could be any number of things. That's why I've tried to keep it relatively
right.
Right. Those people, where do they come from?
They come from a list.
A list, usually. They can also come from direct, cold, but that's the hard way. The easier way is the list, right? So they come from a list. And then for people to get on that list, where do they come from?
Well, they can opt in from, let's say, a Facebook.
Right. Okay. So they need to opt in some capacity somewhere. Okay. Cool. Okay. So they opt in from somewhere. And then finally, how do they get to the opt-in?
There's an offer.
No, this opt-in here. This
Oh,
opt-in.
I'm
How do they get to that opt-in? We're following this. I don't know if you can see the screen.
Okay, so there's how do they get to, okay. So there's traffic, right?
Right, traffic. Okay, so traffic is the thing. So when I'm working with any client, I draw out the cycle, right? This is the factory, right? This is the factory process. So let's identify what parts of the factory exist right now.
Okay.
And we always work from the end through to the start. Okay, so we go from Western societies, we go the opposite, right? So we go from our right and we work backwards to our left.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have the workshop? No. Do we have the workshop?
No,
is it completely planned out? You know exactly what you're going to do.
Well, I have the concept, the idea, but I don't have.
Yeah, you've got the concept and idea. Cool, no problem.
Exactly.
But we just need exactness of language so I can give you the right advice.
Okay.
Right? So we need to build the workshop.
Okay.
Okay, that's one thing. Cool. Excellent. Good. Do we have the sales device to sell the workshop?
Physically, no.
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 So we need to create the sales campaign. Now, you do have some list.
Yes, I do.
But we need to do a reactivation campaign.
Correct.
And you ready? I'm going to teach it to you right now.
Okay.
You send them an email saying, hey, are you still interested in X? X being whatever they signed up on your list for? That's it. There's your reactivation campaign.
Okay.
Right, it's called the 9-word email, and it's incredibly successful.
Okay.
All right, so that's by the by. That's off to the side. Okay, do you have an opt-in process to replenish the list?
No. I mean, no.
No.
Not physically. No.
No, we've got to build it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you may have it in your head, but we've got to build it. Okay, and so we haven't run any traffic tests?
No.
At this point. Cool.
No.
Okay. So your original question was, have been working on a new website, rebranding. Should I make that the first project?
And you said no.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right.
Yeah,
No. Where does a branding website fit anywhere in this factory process?
It doesn't.
Doesn't, right? So that's why we do this, right? So we clarify, and because you could have spent all your time and money doing that, whereas we need to figure out, can we get people to put their hands up, right? So what part of this so at each of these, we need to be able to test at each of these points, because what would have, remember the question back at the start, what would have to prove true for this business to be a success? Every one of these interfaces has to prove true. So the first part of this is we have to prove the traffic to opt-in part. Okay. Now, because you could, here's the thing, right? You could do do that 9-word email campaign reactivation process, and you could actually run a test with that existing list to a sales device into the workshop. That is a possibility, right? You could do that, but I'm thinking for the long term, right? Because if the list isn't growing, it's dying. Does that make sense?
Correct.
So for the longer term health of this business, we need to be growing that list. That's
Absolutely.
why I'm sort of more focused on the traffic opt-in part right now, right? Because we've got 90 days to do this, right? I've got no problem with your 90-day goal, right? 15 people into that's. Have I seen that done? I've seen it done many times. Okay, so that's good. We've just got a lot of construction. It's a bit like James DeLong, right? We've got some construction work to do, and it'll either be you doing it or you engaging somebody to do the construction work to your specifications. So who's going to be doing it? Is this going to be you, or are you going to be getting?
No, I'm going to have to get some. I get all cocked up in the.
I love it.
In the technical, love the technical.
Love
but
it. Love the idea of it, but
buried in it.
Very good. Excellent. Thumbs up. That's where we all want to get to. It's as Dean Jackson says, we want to move from hows, where we learn all of the stuff and do it all ourselves, to the who's. Okay. So good news, right? Now, in terms of particular roadmaps, have you got any particular preference for a good process for traffic to collecting opt-ins?
I'm thinking of
If not, I've got one.
Facebook ad campaign.
Yeah, right. So there's
Right.
there's and in the
I know where the people live, basically.
Yeah, good, right? So
on Facebook, right?
So the campaign for doing that, my recommended campaign is a lead generation campaign because it's super quick to get set up. All that the biggest key component there, right, is some sort of why will they give you you need to give them something of real value in return for their email address.
Some sort of lead magnet.
Yeah, right. And do you have some cool stuff lying around?
I do have some cool stuff lying around. It's old cool stuff. But
often the old cool stuff is the best stuff.
I even have a book that I could give away.
Right.
Perhaps.
Okay. Right. So these are all
okay. Right.
But remember, our workshop is, because your workshop, right, is fill your chairs.
Correct.
Right. So let's use that, as, so we need to pick a market. Who can we best help? Now, I'm going to stop here because that gets into what I would do in an engaged session. Okay.
Right.
In terms of helping, but you need to identify. In the induction workshop, I've got a market selection process. You don't need to know it from the perspective of, your market, but what you do need to do is choose a single target market in that who could most benefit from the fill your seats. Who have you had the best success with? Who have you had, right? You with me?
Right.
Because we need to pick that, because we don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to spend. So we want to really target where we need to go, right? So you need to do that. So that process, I would go through the market strategy in that induction, and that's a valuable thing for you to do because it's all conceptual, intellectual, getting it down on getting it out of your head and onto paper. Okay, and then after that, there's a framework for, once we've got our market figured out, then we can identify, what are their biggest pains with filling their chairs.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I have the market, but I'm going to do the work in the induction workshop.
Just not, only do the little bits that you need to, and very specifically, it's identifying a series of markets that we can potentially test, right? Because we have to. It can't just be, and I'll make this up, right? It can't be just business owners, right? We need to break that down to lawyers, real estate agents, florists. Do you see where I'm going?
Right.
Because they're much easier and cheaper to target than if we try target for business owners. Plus, their pains are slightly different. You can use their terminology, all of these sorts of things. All right. Does that help out? Does that give direction?
Perfect.
Excellent. Very good. All right. There we go. All right. Well, thanks, gang. That was if I do say so myself, that was a great session. Before you go, though, what I would love in the chat is, what's been your biggest takeaway from today? What was your biggest aha from today's session? I'd love to hear that from you. While I have a drink of water, I'll just give you some time to type that in the chat window. So Miriam's got here working backwards. Many of us have the same challenges. So helping one helps many. And not only does it help many, it actually gives you the thing, wow, I'm not alone in this crazy thing. There are other people like me. I don't suck. It's just general the same. Like everybody has these same issues. So it's really helpful with that. How to tighten up a 90-day goal, figuring out what project should be tackled first. Working backwards in the Scrum boards. Just now making a list of target markets to test. This is a mystery for me to solve. Very good. And well, there's a great news in the induction workshop. There is the fundamentals workshop, as I sometimes call it. It's week 3. We'll take you exactly through that process. Not hows, but whos. Yes, that's very powerful. Be more active in Facebook, in the group. I think you're saying there. Working backwards to plan the end result is nice to see in a diagram. Thinking on paper is the best lesson I can teach you guys. I'm actually doing okay so far. That's good. Need to look for those CFT ticks. Good stuff. Stop and walk away when you're having tech challenges. Nice. Very good. Now, the text expander, I'll just, if you give me 1 second, now we're at the, in fact, hang on, I'll just stop here. Hang on,